Bragg's people protested, and the judge knocked him out, said you can't testify. He actually said you can't testify for anything having to do with the trial. You can say what the federal elections is. Well, that doesn't help. Everybody knows that. But you can't testify. So essentially, he wasn't able to testify. Other people weren't able to testify. But with these people, they were able to use people salacious. By the way, and nothing ever happened. There was no anything. Nothing ever happened, and they know it. But they were as salacious as they could be, and it had nothing to do with the case. But
It is truly the morning after, and I can imagine what it's like inside the foggy mess of Trump's head, or inside the foggy mess of MAGA HQ, or inside even the offices of which lawyer do you want to go for? Todd Blanche. Just one big messy fog, as the former guy, now known as the felon, President Felon, is facing a very sticky few months, because we still got Georgia to go to. We still have Jack Smith. Never mind the sentencing on July the 11th. Straight question. Would you like to see Trump locked up? Yes or no? If it's a yes, press the like button now. But anyway, everybody deserves to be heard, and well, Trump is whining.
We were expecting the former commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, to take questions. This had been billed as a news conference, and that reporters would be at least available. There would be the former president for their questions. So we didn't see that. He did range a lot in topic.
The judge allowed them to go into everything that I was ever involved in, not this case, everything that I was ever involved in, which is a first. In other words, you could go into every single thing that I ever did. Was he a bad boy here? Was he a bad boy there? And my lawyer said, what do you need to go through? And all you wanted to do is testify simply on this case. Because I would have loved to have testified. To this day, I would have liked to have testified. But you would have said something out of whack, like it was a beautiful sunny day and it was actually raining out. And I very much appreciate the big crowd of people outside. That's incredible what's happening. The level of support has been incredible.
He chose not to do that. He chose actually to step into the Biden campaign frame of Donald Trump's candidacy. They say time and again, Mitch Landrieu said it on our air this morning, their argument is Donald Trump is making this 2024 campaign all about him and not about you. And that is precisely what he did at this rambling, I don't even know what to call it, just this venting session before cameras.
Yeah, he opened with a very, very blistering attack against President Biden, basically suggesting he's the worst president in the history of the United States. He can't speak. He can't put two sentences together. He was going on and on about the Democratic president of the United States.
Yeah, and then he went on for 45 minutes to show that he can't really speak or put two sentences together. You know, it was, I think, surprisingly incoherent, surprisingly all over the place. He wants to make this argument about age against Biden, but here he was looking, you know, kind of like an old man who was just ranting and raving in a self-involved way, to your point, David Chalian, and to the campaign's point as well. And so again, this wasn't a great outing for him. I think it was probably smart.
Legal expense was marked down as legal expense. Think of it. This is the crime that I committed, that I'm supposed to go to jail for 187 years for, because I just see a poll just came out, the Daily Mail. That was the first one, came out, was done last night right after the verdict, where I'm up 6 points. 6 points from what we already were. We were leading fairly substantially. We're up 6 points in the Daily Mail poll. Now, maybe other polls come out and it says something differently. A poll just came out. The first poll, I don't know, maybe others will be bad. But a poll just came out a little while ago. The Daily Mail. Does anybody read the Daily Mail? It's very good. They have a good poll. At least I like it today. And the Daily Mail just came out with a poll, and it has Trump up 6 points in the last 12 hours. I watched Andy McCarthy say this is a case that should not have been brought. And that was this morning.
We'll keep an eye on this press conference. Donald Trump, in his first real news conference, you could call it, following his guilty verdicts, 34 counts, all guilty. And so now he is railing on the justice system, railing on the judge, and continuing to say many of the similar things we heard throughout the trial. It's important for us to at least fact check some of them at the moment. When he talks about the highly conflicted judge, important to note that Judge Merchan did go to the state ethics board and was given the all clear that he did not need to recuse himself. That's what the state ethics board found. When he talks about the gag order, he's talking. He has not been restricted from railing against his opponent in this election, Joe Biden or the Biden administration.
It's a disgrace. So it's not hush money. It's a non-disclosure agreement. Totally people. They were able to use people salacious. By the way, and nothing ever happened. There was no anything. Nothing ever happened, and they know it. But they were as salacious as they could be, and it had nothing to do with the case. They want to stop you from having cars with their ridiculous mandates.
As you were reading that verdict and just as you're digesting it, and I know you're keeping your eye on the courtroom as well, what do you make of this verdict?
Savannah, it's a resounding victory for this prosecution in a case that they pitched as something far greater than about hush money. The way they tried to cast this case was about the subversion of democracy, and today the jury agreed with them, Savannah. The former president has tried to cast this as a political prosecution, a political hit job by a Democratic elected DA, by a judge that was biased against him. But these 12 jurors, these 12 New Yorkers, have come to a different conclusion, an independent conclusion, that the former president of the United States is guilty of 34 felony counts. You can hear the crowd here. There's a lot of Trump supporters out here that you can hear are very worked up. As I was reading the verdict, I could hear the crowd emotion growing behind me. I'm only a couple yards away from the area that you can see on your screens right there, sort of the First Amendment area, if you will. It's just a stone's throw away from the press area. It's been growing as the day went on. It's growing after they heard that this verdict was coming in. A lot of emotions running very high in this city right now. Again, this is the presumptive GOP nominee in the middle of an election year for things that he did, that the prosecution said he did to try to corrupt the last election. A just remarkable scene playing out right here in Lower Manhattan.
I want to read, we're getting some color from the courtroom. Tom Winter saying Trump is looking at each juror as they are polled, craning his head at times to look at all the jurors. We're still waiting for kind of a read on what the reaction has been. The former president, of course, has been behind closed doors in a holding room throughout the trial, frankly, but certainly waiting, unable to leave the courthouse and waiting for the verdict. So we're going to get a little more information.